Can you tell I'm excited to finally be talking about soul navigation? All these years of writing notes about it, thinking about it, and feeling like it was maybe too big of a topic. And today, I'm ready. That feels so good. Ordinary moments take ordinary focus on God. Ordinary habits can fail us in the face of extraordinary circumstances. Extraordinary circumstances force us to take extraordinary measures to keep our eyes on God. Crash site strategy number 3. He reminds himself of the character of God. He looks skyward to the sun and resets his compass. I'm going to read to you in each of those 3 Psalms where we found him at his crash sites, the way that he applies this strategy and reminds himself of the character of God. Psalm 10, verse 18, which was the Psalm of Revenge, where he talked about dismemberment and possible genocide. Lord, you have heard the desire of the humble. You'll prepare their heart, and thou wilt cause thine ear to hear. You're going to touch those people's hearts. And so I better get myself on the side of the gospel instead of just the side of my own emotions or the embarrassment I described, where you're sitting next to someone in church who you formerly cursed, may sneak up on you. But he's saying God is going to handle this. He's going to execute his justice, his way, his time, and it's God's preference to extend the hand of mercy to his enemies. In Psalm 13:5, that's the psalm where David describes the feeling of being forgotten by God. He says, I will sing unto the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me. After all these statements he's made about the feeling of being ignored, he's going to wrap that with, I don't understand how, but God is still good to me. I'm going to look at last year, year before that, this year's strange, and expect that the character of God is going to continue. It occurs to me that that's a fantastic way of looking at this year we've all survived, those of us who have survived. Has anyone felt forgotten by God? Has anyone felt that their country was forgotten by God? Well, according to this, we can still sing to God because he has been bountiful and generous with us. He feels like God's been stingy with his time and attention, but he's still going to say God is generous. Finally, Psalm 38:22, that's the psalm where he described depression. He says, make haste to help me, O Lord of my salvation. He has an expectation that he's not going to sit there and feel that depression forever. He is reaching out for God to come help him. He is believing that God is going to come and get him. This reminds me of a man who was crippled and could not get himself into a room where Jesus was healing. And so his friends tore the roof off and dropped him in by a section of roof attached by rope. They cut in line. Generally not my idea of a good thing, but as being healed by God is more important than standing in line. Think about it. He's saying that in this case, David is himself a man in a stretcher who's got to be rescued by God. But there's a difference between I'm going to stay here depressed forever and I know God is going to come get me. So those are 3 examples of this third crash site strategy. He reminds himself of the character of God. If I've blessed you, encouraged you, equipped you in any way, please like and subscribe.